Hey there, and welcome to my channel, The Paper Bag Investor. In today's video, I want to look at a clip from Jeremy from Financial Education as he talks about the Very Good Food Company and give you my reaction to his thoughts on this company that I hold and that I've been covering. So let's get into it. But before I go any further, I just want to make it absolutely clear, I'm not a personal financial advisor, just a guy with a paper bag on his head who loves investing and thinking about the future. If you love investing and you love thinking about the future, I encourage you, hit that subscribe button down below. I can't guarantee you your portfolio's performance, but it's in the bag that subscribing will help you become a better investor and make more money with your investments. So I encourage you, hit that subscribe button, follow along with me as my channel grows and become a better investor yourself, okay? I'm going to be playing a clip from Jeremy's Very Good Foods video that he did. It was actually a video on companies he thought could 10x still, and then give you my reaction to his thoughts and also put the link to his video in the description. So let's watch that.
Okay, and so you look at the Very Good Food Company, and $440 million market cap or so. This company is little bro. Okay, this is little bro. They're trying to get to a level someday where Beyond Meat is at today. Maybe they never get there. Maybe they never get as big as Beyond Meat is today, and that could still be okay. I mean, even if this company goes to a $3-4 billion company over the next 5-10 years, it's still 1,000% plus gainer in the end. Okay. And so if you look at where a Very Good Food Company is right now, it's where Beyond Meat was 3 to 5 years ago. 3 to 5 years ago, hardly anybody heard of Beyond Meat. I mean, that company was super niche. It was just starting to build a business. And now, Beyond Meat's become almost a household name, even if people don't really eat like vegan-related products, just for the fact that you see it on every other, restaurant and fast food restaurant, Beyond Meat branded products, right? And so Very's in that spot Beyond Meat was 3 to 5 years ago. And I think there's massive, and I mean absolutely gargantuan opportunity for Very to expand their business to 9 figures plus over the coming years. And so I look at this stock and I'm up $152,000. I'm up 256%. And, sometimes thoughts have to cross your mind. Do you cash this position? And I say no thanks. Why would I cash this position at a $400-something million market cap when this company could become little bro to Beyond Meat long term? And maybe even this company gets really big and maybe Beyond Meat buys them out over time. Why would I want to dump this stock now when it's got its whole future in front of it? I'm not willing to do that. I want to see how this one plays out. And yeah, I think this one will be 1,000% plus gainer for me when it's all said and done.
So Jeremy's been pumping and really brought a lot of attention to the stock over the last few months. I think a lot of its sort of huge rise that it's had over the last several months, other than ever since it was kind of at $1.75 a share, has a lot of that's been due to Jeremy just bringing attention and spotlight to this company. And overall, I completely agree with what he's saying. What he said in this video, that Very is really like, as he calls it, the little bro to Beyond Meats. And I highly doubt that they would ever be bigger than Beyond Meat. But if they can execute well, and they could be in selling hundreds of millions of dollars of product. And their goal for their Vancouver facility, they call the Rupert facility, and also the California facility, that will come a little bit later. But the goal with those two facilities is to have is production capacity to do about $1 billion in sales eventually. And it's definitely a very speculative stock still, which is why it's a much smaller part of my portfolio. When it's a little more speculative stock like this, unless I have somehow have a very high amount of conviction behind a company, like say Tesla, for example, over the last few years. If I have a very high amount of conviction, then I'll put a large part of my portfolio into that stock. But most stocks you can't really get that for, and especially a stock like this that's really in a speculative state, I'm not going to put a huge amount of my portfolio. Personally, that's my opinion. But if they execute well and their product sells at scale, I want to be clear, this could be a really, really good investment. And Beyond is at about, if we compare them to Beyond Meat, Beyond is at about $7.5 billion market cap right now, and they trade at about 18 times their annualized revenues of $400 million. So 18 times their sales is what they're traded out of the market's valuing them at. And someone asked me for my end of 2021 price target for Very in my last video. Somebody asked sort of what my price target would be. So I kind of give you some thoughts on that. If we assume that they get their Vancouver facility operating well, and they're supposed to, in this first quarter of this year, they're supposed to have that sort of beginning operations. But let's say by the end of the year, they can produce and they can sell 60% of the capacity of that facility. So 60% of that. And we'll just ignore the Victoria facility even in these numbers because it's very, very small. So maybe altogether they're doing 60% of the Vancouver facility. And that facility is supposed to do 37 million pounds of product at 60 cents, or 60% of 37 million gives you a 22 million pounds of product. And if they sell that wholesale number I picked up in one of their letters, they think they can sell around that $8.50 range per pound wholesale, would give you about 187 million in annualized sales. Of course, they won't do 187 million dollars in sales in 2021. I can just about guarantee that, but can't for sure guarantee that, but I really don't think they will. But 187 million would be their annualized rate by the end of this year in this kind of scenario. And let's give them a less generous multiple than Beyond, because I think the market's going to look at Beyond as a company that's not really just for, not so niche like, for vegan eaters, but more as a company that's trying to be for all meat eaters, to replace their meat and be more environmentally conscious. So I think the market's going to see Beyond as having more growth potential overall. So rather than 18 times sales, let's say the market gives Very Good Foods 9 times sales. That would give you 9 times your 187 million, gives you about $1.6 billion market cap, kind of that range by the end of the year. And that would equate to a share price of about $19 per share. So obviously lots of upside still for Very in that kind of scenario. This is what I'm calling the optimistic scenario, but I could see it happening because they're aggressively executing. They're executed well in Victoria so far. They seem to have a really great team of assembling a team of the right people to make this huge growth happen. And they seem to have a lot of wholesale partners that are eager to carry their products. So as long as those products sell through those wholesale channels and they can execute well, I could really see this happening. Pessimistic scenario, they don't execute well or the product doesn't sell at scale. And the stock either stays stagnant or declines to a fraction what it is now. And really, I think if they don't execute well, then maybe the stock's going to stay stagnant, maybe decline a little bit. That's kind of like, not a good scenario, but that's sort of what could happen to the stock. The worst case scenario is if they execute well, they're producing product, but it's just not selling and wholesalers don't want to carry their product. That would be the worst case scenario and would be a nightmare for the stock. Don't think that's going to happen because there seems to be, when I've read lots and lots of reviews from people, and they all seem, the people that are vegan eaters, and they seem very, very positive for the product. And the product currently is very much production constrained. Of course, as you scale up to a much larger scale, just how is the market going to receive that is the question. I think it's going to be positive. We don't know for sure, but that would be the worst case scenario. They scale up and the market doesn't receive the product well. It all depends on their execution and the product acceptance still, like I said. But if the optimistic scenario occurs, I also want to say that they likely will go even higher than that $19 per share price in the years afterwards. Because even if they go to $190 million in sales by the end of the year, they're going to keep ramping because they have goals to do maybe closer to the $1 billion mark in sales eventually, like on a global scale, as their California facility comes into operation and really comes to its full capacity along with the Vancouver facility. So there's still significant upside beyond that $19 a share in that kind of optimistic scenario. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys think about Very Good Foods, what you thought about this video. Let me know in the comments down below. If you're still watching and you enjoy this channel, please subscribe for more information on Very and other companies that I'm following that I think are great investments for you guys to do well with your portfolios. Also hit that thumbs up, smash the like button. As I say, it really does help the YouTube algorithm, helps my little channel grow, so I appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, it's in the bag. See you in the next video.